So let's start seated. Just in Sukhasana, so crossing one shin in front of the other. Always really nice to sit up on something, especially if you tend to be tighter in the hips. So you want, if the knees are up here like this, as you sit like this, it means you need more height. Crossing in the center of your shins. Let's take our right shin in front first. So we're on the same side. You can gently flex your feet a little bit here. And then before we just sit quietly, let's bring our fingertips to our shoulders and then just start to do some circles. So just warming up the shoulder girdle. And these can be big circles, they can be small circles, kind of depending upon how flexible you are. You might bring the elbows together. So getting that full range of motion. Good morning, Susie. And then we're gonna start to roll backwards. Kind of the same thing. You're gonna get some cracks and crunches in the shoulders. Especially as you're opening up and releasing the arms back, try to feel that stretch, that openness across your heart and chest. Ooh, and then just go ahead and release your arms down. So hands resting on your thighs. Shoulders are stacking over your sit bones. Your sit bones are rooting down into the earth. So that rooted feeling helps you to find all of that length through the sides of your waist. And if they're not closed already, go ahead and gently close your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Let it go. Ha. Do that a couple more times. So filling up on the inhale, noticing how the rib cage expands, maybe pausing a little bit at the top and even sipping in a little more air. And then sighing the breath out. So letting the week so far go. Cleansing the palate here, getting ready for the holiday weekend ahead. And then just starting to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. And exhaling through your nose. Length of the inhale, length of the exhale, really nice and even. Count the breath if you need to help establish that. See if the breath can become the most important sound. So everything happening in the room around you just drifts into the background. Harder to let that happen with the thoughts happening in your mind. We'll see if you can move in that direction too. So not attaching to them. And when you do, you let them go, come back to your breath. You might have to do it 1,000 times the next hour. That's okay. This is how we build the mindfulness muscle. Inhaling, finding lots of length. Exhaling, breathing down into your sit bones, anchoring down. And then gently blink your eyes open here. Let's just do a little lateral side to side stretching. So reach down into your right palm. Inhale, left arm reaches up and over. Exhale, press into your left palm. Inhale, right arm reaches up and over. And you're just going to continue like this, maybe with eyes closed. You're moving with your breath. You're finding that pace that feels really good today. You're not too fast. You're not too slow. We're going to do several rounds of this. So we're just gently opening up the side body. It can take a moment or two, especially, earlier yoga practices, we can feel a little tighter. So just be really gentle about this. Don't force anything. Start to pay attention to the places where you have sensation in your body. Just notice where you feel a little tighter. Notice where you feel a little more open and spacious. Good. The next time you're rooting down into that right hand, stay there. Bring this left arm up and over. Notice if that shoulder, right shoulder especially, is creeping up around your ear. Soften it down so there's space there. Your shoulder blades are squeezing in towards each other, even in this shape. If you have the flexibility and continue to keep your left sit bone rooted down into the mat, maybe you lower on towards your forearm or move in that direction. But as you're doing that, you're spinning these right ribs up. You're finding that extension through your left fingers, and there's a little bit of internal rotation here, so it's like that left palm is spinning to face behind you. Finally, you might be gazing up underneath your top arm a little bit. That's going to stretch into the neck. So if it's not feeling good at the moment, just keep your gaze forward. You could even be looking down. Find that breath. All right, let's inhale, upright ourselves here. So palms just facing forward. We're going to come into a nice little twist. As you exhale, twist gently to the right. Again, twist first thing, can feel a little tight. So you might not get very far. That's absolutely fine. We're going to release our right fingertips behind us. And depending upon what feels good in your body here, left hand to your left thigh, you might be able to bring that left hand to the outside of your right thigh. Gently press. So again, those shoulder heads are pressing back. You're sitting nice and tall. And then maybe you're starting to bring your gaze out over your right shoulder. Beautiful work, Carl. Inhaling, filling up, getting tall. Feeling that lowermost left rib get involved in the twist, even if it's really subtle. Good. Stay in the twist, but start to bring your gaze out over your left shoulder. And just go as far as feels good. Maybe even tuck your chin a little bit so you get a little stretch into the back of that right side of the neck. Soften the shoulders down, especially if this neck stretching created any tension. It can be pretty intense. Good. Inhale, lift your chin. Exhale, come to center. Extend your legs to straight. Good. Give them a little shake. And then we recross with the left shin in front. So kind of just adjusting here, finding your sit bones. And before we sit quietly on this side, let's just start to do some Sufi rolls. So hands on knees or thighs or shins. Just start to make some circles. I always think this one feels really nice. It's definitely not movement that we do in yoga on a regular basis. Kind of gets into the hips, the shoulders, the neck. All right, start to switch directions. Good. Let the circles get a little smaller. Come up to center. Close your eyes. Find that rhythm of your breath, that smooth, steady Ujjayi breath. Inhaling through your nose. Exhaling through your nose. Focusing your attention as much as possible. Some days it's easier than others. And just be good with where you're at. Finding length through the sides of your waist, finding length in your spine on the inhale, feeling that anchoring sensation as you exhale down into your sit bones. The breath is growing you in opposite directions. So you're welcome to keep your eyes closed here. We're going to do that lateral side to side stretching again. We're going to start on the left side. You can blink your eyes open if that feels better. So pressing down into your left palm, inhale, right arm up and over. Exhale, release down. And then inhale, left arm. You're really rooting into both sit bones. And then just finding this gentle flow here, finding your pace. We've already done this, so maybe it's feeling a little easier. Like you can get in a little deeper. Let's do a few more to each side before we come into the hold on the left. And just soaking up that sound of your breath. It's the best soundtrack going. All right, so the next time you're rooting down into that left palm, you're gonna stay there. Right arm comes up and over. Really press into this right sit bone. Walk this left hand out as far as feels good in your body. If you're a little more flexible and you can keep grounding into that right sit bone, you might get down to your forearm. It's not happening for me today. Feel that left shoulder blade release down, so get the shoulder out of your ear if it's there. Your shoulder blades are squeezing in towards each other. Internal rotation in that right arm. So it's like your palm is spinning to face behind you. Pinky side of the hand releasing down towards the mat. And then wrapping those left ribs up. Couple more breaths. Maybe you're gazing up underneath that top arm. Here you go. We inhale up. Arms perpendicular to shoulders. Nice deep inhale. Feel the pit of your belly pull in and up. As you exhale, begin to twist to the left. So starting the twist from this lowermost right rib, and then every other rib just follows along. Sitting tall, grounding into your sit bones, and depending upon how deep the twist is on this side in your body, right hand to right thigh, or perhaps it comes to the outside of the left thigh, left fingertips behind you. They could even be on a block, especially if you're sitting up on a blanket. So sitting nice and tall, shoulder heads pressing back. There's a little bit of cobra pose, even though we're twisting the spine here. And then maybe you start to bring your gaze out over that left shoulder, moving in that direction. Trying to keep the breath nice and deep, especially that inhale. It's a little trickier in the twist. It's harder to fill up. Good, stay in the twist, but just bring your gaze forward as you exhale, maybe out over that right shoulder. And then perhaps you even start to tuck the chin a little bit, and it gets into this really nice place in the neck. Nice is relative, I suppose. It can feel quite intense, actually. But it's a good stretch. So back out if you need to. But do try to find a little sensation here. Good. Lift your chin as you inhale. As you exhale, unwind, come to center. Extend legs, give them a little shake. Then recross, we're going to flip to our tabletop position. So just setting up for some cat-cow. So land with your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees, so the lower belly engage a little bit. Look down at your fingers. They should be spreading gently. You don't need to overdo it, but there's a little space between the fingers and you're rooting down into all 10 knuckles. You need to keep your gaze slightly forward so the neck is nice and long. As you inhale, chest comes forward through the gates of your shoulders. You arch in your lumbar, lower back. Nice. As you exhale, really press the mat away. Round in, let the back of your neck lengthen and release. And then continuing like this, trying to keep the arms nice and straight and active here. Think downward facing dog arms. Connecting movement with breath, finding this idea of vinyasa. So happens anytime, kind of moving sequentially. Can be really simple movement like this. It might be a little more in depth, like our sun salutes. For most of us, it has this really nice calming quality on the mind, so it helps us to get a little quieter. It's also helping us to warm up the spine. We're getting flexion and extension. Nice work. Couple more rounds. Good inhale, come back to center. Good, walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Keep fingers spreading, pressing evenly. Curl your toes under. We're gonna pull back to our downward dog. We're gonna do that with a nice deep bend in our knees. So you can really start to stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling. You might have to take your feet, kind of adjust them. So again, you just wanna make sure that they're hips distance apart. Gazing between your feet here. Feeling your inner arm wrap towards your outer arm. You're widening across the backs of your shoulders. Stay on your left tippy toes. Begin to straighten that left leg so that heel melts back any amount. It may or may not get to the floor. It doesn't matter, but you should be feeling a nice stretch in the back of the leg, the calf, the hamstring, maybe even in the glute a little bit. Might even be getting a little stretch in the toes. Back up to tippy toes. Exhale. Melt that left heel back. How does this side feel different? Get back up to tippy toes. Begin to let both heels melt back. You might keep a very generous bend in your knees, especially if you're a little tighter, particularly in the hamstrings, the lower back. And nice and easy, let's lead with our right hand. We're gonna just start to walk our hands back to meet our feet. And when you get here, again, just check to see that your feet are hips distance apart, second and third toe pointing forward. Let's bring our hands to our shins. You can keep that bend in your knees. Press into your shins as you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So think of this as a standing cobra pose. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen again into your Ardha Uttanasana, little standing cobra. Make sure that you're not gripping your toes here, but also you don't want to have all the weight in your heels. So feeling really even on your feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Beautiful, beautiful work. One more. Inhale, lengthen. Good. So exhale, let's fold in here with that bend in your knees. Just release your hands down. Like you're a little rag doll. Start to roll on up to standing. When you get there, let's roll the shoulders back a few times. And then roll the shoulders forward. Good. And if you have blocks, just make sure that they're at the top of your mat. Roll back again. All right, so we're at the back of our mat here, finding our Tadasana, our mountain pose. So standing nice and tall here, you feel the arches lift, the weight is really evenly distributed. So we're not puffing the booty back and the ribs forward. We're directing tailbone down and sternum up. As you inhale, stretch arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, gracefully fold in like a little swan dive. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep rooting back into your heels for as long as possible. Lead with your right hand, nice and slow. Walk forward into your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. So ears release between your biceps, your inner arm. Already notice how downward dog is beginning to feel a little different. It might be super subtle. We're going to inhale, lift our right leg up here. Keep the hips even. As you exhale, step that foot through and then land on your left knee. And this is where blocks might be really nice, especially if your left hip flexor is really tight. So we're going to exhale, melt in any amount. Inhale, pull that front leg to straight. There might be a generous bend in the knee. Good. Exhale, coming in to the hip flexor stretch on the left side. Inhale into the hamstring stretch on that right side. Good work. Couple more. Exhale, sink in. Inhale, pull back. So we've kind of warmed that up, which is nice. This time we're going to exhale. We're going to be here for several breaths. And this can be really, really intense. So if it is harder in your body, do put your hands on some blocks and you can change the height if need be. Also, you can always pad up that back knee, especially if you're practicing on a harder surface. Have you started to hold the breath at all? It can happen in these big stretches, these big static stretches. So keep the breath moving. And just make sure that there's no tension in your face and jaw, even though this is intense. From here, we inhale, pull that front leg to straight. Feels like the right hip is drawing back, left hip is drawing forward. So we want both hip bones facing the same direction. And again, depending upon how tight you are, maybe you have a little bend in the knee. If you're super tight, you might be pretty upright here. You could hold on to a piece of wall, some furniture to keep you balanced. If you're a little more open, hands could be on blocks. You might even have fingertips or hands on the floor, and you could be walking your hands forward a little bit. So you're finding a little bit of a forward fold. Don't do that by rounding in, however, in the upper spine. Think a little cobra pose in the upper body. Good. So let's inhale, bend that right knee, hands come up to your right thigh. As you inhale, arms stretch out and up. Good. Maybe bring your gaze up. Press your palms together. And then we're going to exhale. Release our hands down. Curl your left toes under. So we're going to step our left foot to meet our right foot at the top of the mat. As you inhale, chest extends. As you exhale, fold in. Good. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Nice work. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. Good. Right fingertips to left wrist. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale up to center. Exhale, left fingertips, right wrist, side bend to the left. Inhale up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Step your left foot way back. Keep those toes curled under this time. We're going to come into a twist. You might need to walk your right foot off to the right. You're going to root down into your left palm. Your hand might even be on a block here. Press to the inner edge of this right foot as you firm up that left thigh. And then twisting from those lowermost left ribs, start to wrap to the right. Feel your shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. And you are more than welcome to put the back knee down, especially if this feels a little intense, if you're having any issues with the balance. Your gaze is down, forward, or up. Breath smooth and steady. Couple more here. The tendency is to roll to the outer edge of that right foot. Keep squeezing everything into the midline. Nice work. These look good. Good, deep inhale here. As you exhale, you unwind. So if you put that left knee down, go ahead and curl those toes under. So you're planting your palms. You're keeping your gaze forward. Keep your hips this low. Step back to your plank pose. Take a nice deep inhale here. Good, and then exhale, shift forward on toes, come to knees. As we exhale, we lower to halfway hover. Keep breathing, holding here in this modified chaturanga. Exhale, land on your belly. Bring your arms by your side, so just have your palms face in towards each other. The tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. You're feeling the inner thigh spiral up. You're feeling your outer hips squeeze in to support the lumbar. We're just going to flow here a little bit in Shalabhasana. So inhale, head, chest, extend forward and up. Hands, arms can lift up off the mat a little bit. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Good, exhale, lower down. Keep anchoring into your feet. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This time you inhale, lift. Maybe you lift your feet up an inch or two. If you do that and you start to feel sensation in the lower back, the lumbar that doesn't feel good, you place your feet back down. Good, keep heart, chest, arms lifted. Place feet down. Bend your elbows, bring your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. Good, exhale, lower. Inhale, extend up, generating the work from your lower back. Exhale, lower. Inhale up, Bhujangasana, low cobra. Exhale, lower down. Good, inhale. Lift here, hold. Squeeze the elbows in. Feel the shoulder heads lift up towards the ceiling. Find that engagement in your feet. All 10 toenails pressing down. Good. From here, press to your tabletop. Curl your toes under. Shift your hips up towards the ceiling. And then let's lead with our left hand. Start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. Inhale, chest extends forward. Gaze comes forward. Beautiful work. As you exhale, you fold in. Inhale, press down to rise up. Take up lots of space. Let this feel really good. Get big in your body. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Chest lengthens forward, lead with your left hand, take your time. Walk in to your downward facing dog. Keep the heels pressing back as long as possible. They're gonna lift at some point, that's fine. And then you release your ears between your biceps, so you're gazing between your feet. Take a couple breaths here in downward dog. Firm muscle to bone in arms and legs, so you're really working the whole body. And then we inhale, lift our left leg. Exhale, step that foot through between your hands, lower onto your right knee. So again, maybe set up with some blocks. Make sure that your legs are about hips distance apart. Exhale, melt that right hip down towards the floor. Inhale, start to straighten your left leg. Any amount, it might not get all the way there. So just moving like this with the breath, little vinyasa, kind of warming up these really big muscle groups before we come into the hold for a few breaths. Noticing how this side feels in your body. Is it a little different? Is it the same? Good. So the next time you're rocking forward, just stay there. Continue to breathe, smooth and steady. Check in with face and jaw. Again, just make sure that you're not clenching your teeth. It's only yoga. Props are great here. Giving yourself a little height can be really beneficial. As you inhale, start to bring that left leg to straight, left hip back, right hip forward. So it could be high up on blocks. You might be completely upright and getting a hamstring stretch. You can just hold on to a piece of furniture, a piece of wall. If this is a little easier in your body, maybe you're hinging forward, folding in, so hands could be on your blocks. You might even have fingertips or palms on the floor. Think a little cobra pose in your upper body. You can also flex these left toes a lot. That's going to give you a little more sensation in the hamstring. Hamstring, quadricep, really big muscles get really tight. Even for those of us that are fairly flexible. All right, so we're gonna rock forward here. Again, make sure you're not on a tightrope. Walk that left foot off to the left if you need. Hands up to that left thigh. Tailbone directs down. Stretching through the sides of your waist as you inhale. Arms reach up. Anjalyasana, crescent pose. Low crescent pose. Maybe you start to bring your gaze up. Maybe you press your palms together. Maybe you get a little wobbly. This is definitely a bit of a balance pose. That's okay. Squeeze the outer hips in towards each other a little more. Pull the belly in and up to give you a little support. And then as we exhale, hands come down to the mat. All right. So curl your right toes under. That leg is in plank pose. Keep your gaze slightly forward. Nice and easy. Step your right foot to meet your left foot. And it actually is not the easiest move in the world. As you inhale, chest lengthens forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch your arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach. Left fingertips, right wrist, exhale, side bend left. Inhale up to center. Right fingertips, left wrist, exhale, side bend right. Good, inhale up to center. Exhale, hinge, forward fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, step your right foot way back. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. Heel toe that left foot to the left if you need. So option to keep this back leg lifted. You always can come to the knee. We're gonna come into our twist. It can be nice to have a block if you're a little bit tighter. So just set up with your right shoulder over your wrist, and then make sure that you're pressing to the inner edge of this left foot. The tendency is to kind of rock to the outer edge. So we want everything coming into the midline. And then from this lowermost right rib, start to twist to the left, extending left fingertips up, feeling shoulder blades stack on top of each other. Notice again, that right ear is coming into the, or right shoulder is coming into the ear. Find that space, even in this shape. And then bring your attention to your breath, especially your inhale. It's not easy to find the expansion of the inhale whenever we're in these deep twists. So do the best you can. And then that back leg too, you're really feeling that right hamstring firm up towards the ceiling if that leg is straight. So that just gives you a little more support. It helps with the balance. Couple more good breaths here. You can use your exhale to help you twist it a little deeper. Good, one more deep inhale. Exhale, unwind. So palms plant. If your right knee is on the floor, curl those toes under, firm up that thigh. Keep your gaze forward. Step your left foot back to meet your right foot. Inhaling here in plank. And then as you exhale, shift forward on your toes. Come to your knees. As you exhale, elbows bend to halfway. Gaze forward, keep breathing. Few full cycles of breath. Just building a little strength here, even with the knees down. This is a strong pose. Good, as you exhale, land on your belly. So this time, if it's available to you, if you can, you have the openness in your shoulders, you can interlace your fingers at the small of your back. Otherwise, you just stick with the variation that we did the last round. Come onto your forehead here, press into your feet. As you inhale, chest lengthens forward and up. Maybe lift your arms up. As you exhale, lower. If you're hyper flexible in your joints, maybe a little bend in the elbows, that's going to actually give you more stretch. Exhale, lower down. Inhale up. Good, exhale, lower. If your fingers are interlaced, just change the interlacing. Palms still face towards each other, but you just shift in the opposite direction. Inhale up. Shoulder heads lifting as you exhale, lower down. Inhale, lengthen forward and up. Good, exhale, lower. Inhale up. Hold here. Maybe lift your feet up off the mat, assuming that that doesn't put any undue pressure into your lumbar. Good, exhale. Release the feet down, keep heart and chest lifted. Bend your elbows, fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. Exhale, lower. Inhaling up. Good, exhale, lower down. Inhale, extend forward one more. Exhale, lower. Inhale up, Bhujangasana. As you exhale, press to your tabletop. Curl toes under. Downward facing dog. Few breaths here. So best downward dog yet. Feeling the space you've created, feeling the strength you've created. So again, really activating the muscles in your arms and in your legs. You can find this sensation of forearms squeezing in towards each other. You start to widen across the backs of your shoulders. Good. So from here, just start to walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Good. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, so hands on shins or thighs. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Nice work. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So let's step wide on our mats. So setting up for some standing hip opening poses. So edges of the feet are parallel with the edges of the mat, and it feels like the outer edges of the feet are squeezing in, outer hips squeeze in. So legs really strong and active. From deep within this right hip socket, turn that leg out to 90 degrees. Left toes turn in. Our right heel is intersecting our left arch. Torso is squaring to the long edge of the mat. So there's all of these like little micro movements happening in your body. Arms reach up. As you exhale, sink into that right knee, and then you might need to sneak that foot forward. Good. Inhale, front leg comes to straight, arms reach up overhead. Couple times like this. Exhale. Nice steep bend, big hip opener. Inhale up. Good. Exhale in. Couple of breaths here. Bring your gaze out over your right fingertips, but keep your torso squaring to the long edge of your mat. Feel that stretch across the backs of your shoulders. Feel your tailbone lengthen down, your sternum stretch up. And then spin your right palm to face up. Keep your legs exactly like this. Inhale. Reach that right arm up and over. Exhale, upright, Virabhadrasana 2. So same thing, inhale. Reverse your warrior. Good, exhale. Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, reverse, hold here. So it's this lateral stretching. We've already done a lot of this today. Make sure that that left shoulder isn't up in your ear. Release it down. Shoulder blades squeeze. Palm of that right hand is spinning behind you. A little internal rotation. Feeling all of this length through the right side. You're trying to twist these left ribs up towards the ceiling. All right, inhale. Virabhadrasana 2. And then this time as we exhale, forearm, right forearm to right thigh, left arm up and over. Legs really strong. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale, extended side angle pose. One more. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. I know the legs are feeling it. Stick with it if you can. Exhale for the hold. All right, so this time we're naturally getting all of that length really easily through the left side. See if you can spin those right ribs up towards the ceiling a little more. Can you bend a little deeper in that right leg? Ooh, hello, hip. As you inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale, press that front leg to straight. Hallelujah. Release your arms down. Parallel your feet. Let's step the feet together. Just give the legs a little walk out. Give them a little break. It was a long time to have them wide. Okay, so we've warmed up this right side. Root into your left foot. Feel that outer hip squeeze in. Come up onto your right toes. Open up that leg. So here we are. Vrikshasana, tree pose. You can stay here like this, toes resting on the floor. You might even need to hold on to something here. Even this is a balanced pose. Maybe you can lift that foot, right foot to your shin. A couple of us might grab the ankle, snuggle that foot into the upper left thigh. Bring your palms together at your heart and get really curious about that standing foot. So it seems like this pose is fairly static, but there's actually a lot happening. There's a lot happening in all of our poses. There's all of these little micro movements happening in that standing foot. This is such a beautiful pose to build strength in the feet. You're gazing at something in front of you that isn't moving. These look really good. Nice work. Go ahead and stretch your arms up. Start to bring your gaze up. Challenge the balance, especially if you are practicing outside or if you're in a room with a tall ceiling. Your tree might start to get a little breezy. That's okay. Simple pose, but a strong pose. So we're going to bring our hands back down to heart center. Gaze forward. Release that right leg wherever it's at. Give the legs a little walk out. Nice work. All right, second side. Nice generous stance. Edges of the feet parallel with the edges of the mat. Tailbone releases down. Sternum stretches up. Hip opening in this left side. So turn that leg out to 90. But then release this right hip down so it's more neutral. It's more like into Tadasana pose. All right. Square your torso to the long edge of your mat. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, bend into the left knee. Good. Inhale, straighten front leg, arms reach up overhead. Exhale in, Virabhadrasana 2. Good. Inhale up. Exhale in, Virabhadrasana 2. Nice hold here. Left knee is pressing back. Right hip is releasing down. Torso squaring to the long edge of your mat. You're gazing out over. Your left fingertips are the shoulders creeping up around your ears. Soften them down. Breath smooth and steady. Jaw face nice and relaxed. A little burn in the legs is a good thing. Here we go. Left palm spins up. Inhale. Reverse your warrior. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Strong legs. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, reverse warrior. We hold here. This backhand is nice and light, so you're not putting a lot of pressure, especially if your hand is around the knee joint. That pinky side of the left hand spins down, shoulder blades release down. Sinking in nice and deep into that left thigh. You're pressing that knee back. And then you're trying to spin these right ribs up ever so gently, even as you lengthen on the left side. All right, here we go. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale, hinge at that left hip. Left forearm, left thigh, right arm up and over. Extended side angle. Inhale, strong legs. Ooh, this is where we really feel it in the legs. Exhale. It's like tree pose or triangle pose in the upper body. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. We got this. Exhale. Uttita Parshva Konasana, extended side angle pose. So naturally we get all of this length through the right side. Hold on to that. See if you can lengthen through the left side a little more. Spin those ribs up. Maybe you're gazing up underneath that top arm. Are you gripping those left toes? Soften, press into the mound of the big toe, the inner heel instead, as you melt that left knee back behind you. All right, here we go. Inhale. Last little effort here. Inhale. Press that front leg to straight. Parallel your feet, release your arms. Ooh. Step feet together. Nice work. All right. Rooting into that right foot. Feeling everything really contained. Coming into the midline. Come up onto your left toes. Open up that hip. Stay here like this. This is the pose. And it might even be quite challenging. Maybe you lift the foot a little higher. The only place we don't want the foot is on the knee, since that's a joint. Good. And then, yeah, just get curious about all of the micro movements happening in that standing right foot. One side is always harder than the other. Are you still breathing? It's helpful. And we often hold the breath in these balancing postures. Let me start to kind of grip and tense the body. Stretch your arms up. And then maybe start to bring your gaze up. All right, so hands come back down to heart center. Release that left foot. Just finding your mountain pose here, noticing how you're feeling. Good work. Let's go ahead and come down onto our backs here. And let's just do a little back bending. So setting up for our bridge pose. So landing with your ankles underneath your knees, edges of the feet parallel with the edges of the mat, arms by your side. And you're just pressing to the center of the back of your head. You're just gazing straight up at the ceiling here. And you want to keep your gaze there. So we don't want to look side to side in this pose since there's a lot of pressure on the neck. And just moving with the breath. So as you inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips. Direct your tailbone forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale up. Notice if you begin to roll to the outer edges of your feet, think Tadasana feet. Exhale, lower down. Inhaling, lifting. Exhale, lower. Couple more. Inhale, lift up. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Bridge pose. Such a mouthful to say bridge. Inhale, lift up, hold here. And then a couple of options. If you're tighter in the shoulders, you're going to grab the outer edges of your mat. Walk your hands closer towards your heels. Snuggle those shoulders underneath you. If you're a little more open, you can interlace fingers. Same concept applies. Good. Make sure you're not gripping toes. Make sure you're not rolling to outer edges of your feet. Notice that lengthening in the back of your neck. And then that stretch across your shoulders. As you inhale, feel your chest extend towards your chin. And you'll definitely be feeling this. Most of us are going to get a little pretty intense stretch in the knees and then the hip flexor. You could be feeling this in the lumbar, certainly the shoulders. Strong pose. Good, one more deep inhale. Exhale, slowly lower down. Take your feet as wide as your mat, so just heel toe them, and then take your arms out nice and wide in a T shape. And then slowly, 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 windshield wiper your legs side to side, just a few times each side, releasing out the lower back after that back bending. Good. Come back to center. Find that bridge pose setup again. And then we're going to take our right ankle. We're going to cross it above our left knee. So just finding our reclining pigeon pose, little hip stretch here. You might take your right hand, press it into your right thigh, gently draw forward. You might not need to do that. So for some of us, just being here there's a lot of intensity, a lot of sensation and stretch. So that's where you stay. If you want to go a little further still, if you're a little more open, start to bend your left knee in, reach your hand through this triangle, and you either interlace fingers around your thigh or your shin. Both good places to be. You can wedge that right elbow into your right thigh. Flex that right foot a little bit. Consciously shifting your breath, letting it stretch out and slow down at this stage of the game. Good. One more deep inhale on this side. Exhale, release that left foot down. If you hug that knee in, uncross right ankle. We set up for the second side. So left ankle crosses above your right knee, flex the foot to protect that knee joint. So just being here like this, you might be getting plenty of sensation in the stretch. This is where you stay. If you want a little more, left hand presses into that left thigh. It's like you're trying to create space, this lower left waist. So maybe this is the place that you stay. Perhaps you go a little deeper still, bending that right knee in, reaching fingers either around thigh or shin, and then maybe wedging that right elbow into that right hip crease. Getting curious about how this side feels different in your body, if it feels different. Maybe noticing if your attention has started to wander. So when we come into these static poses with these longer holds, and these poses, frankly, that are kind of intense for many of us, the thoughts start to kick up. We start to worry about all of the things that we need to get done today. See if instead you can just pay attention to the sensations happening in your body. See if you can pay attention to your breath. See if you can just allow yourself to be still for these final moments of our class. Not easy, but a good thing to practice. Good, deep inhale. And exhale, just release wherever you're at. Give the knees a nice gentle squeeze into your chest. Let's take a little twist before we come into our Shavasana. So keep knees squeezing in, arms come out in a T shape. As you exhale, drop the knees off to the right. Try to maintain that both shoulder blades pressing down into the mat underneath you. That might mean that you need to give yourself a little support underneath your legs, especially if that left shoulder blade is popped up a lot. You can be gazing up at the ceiling, rolling onto your left cheek, looking out over your left fingertips. Good, inhale up to center with your knees. And then exhale, they drop off to the left. Maybe gaze out over your right fingertips. Try to feel this right shoulder blade get really heavy in the mat underneath you. Give yourself a little support underneath the legs if that isn't happening. Good, inhale up to center. Good, one final squeeze here. And then you're gonna make your way into your final resting pose, your Shavasana. So if there's tenderness in your lower back, nice to keep the knees bent, feet wide, just allow the knees to knock in towards each other. You can always slide a blanket or some blocks underneath the knees as well. You can find your classic Shavasana. So make any little adjustments that you need. Find a little bit of this bridge pose feeling in the upper body, so those shoulders kind of snuggling underneath you. And palms face up. Body feels completely relaxed. So if there are any places where you're holding on or gripping, let go there. And just soak up these final quiet moments. Let your next inhale be deeper. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. And just start to bring some gentle movement back to your body. Wiggle fingers, toes, stretch arms up overhead. And staying soft and quiet, roll to one side or the other. Just find the fetal position. And then you're going to use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. So ending class as we started in Sukhasana, but notice how the seat feels different now. Hopefully there's a greater sense of ease, a greater sense of space. Notice how your breath has shifted. And just also notice how your headspace has shifted. So hopefully you're feeling a little quieter, calmer, a little happier. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard, for making the effort. Just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend ahead. And bring your palms together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you.